There has never been a better time in history than right now for those people who want to start businesses, grow businesses, and make a bigger impact in their community. There's never been a time when you can just go to the library for a few dollars or go to a bookstore and for $10, $20, $30, you can buy a book that has more relevant information in it to help you succeed in business than would have been available to any person in the world a couple hundred years ago. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you my personal top 10 business books that have helped me succeed in business up to this point. Just a quick reminder for anyone who hasn't seen any of my videos, my wife and I own a successful massage salon in Townsville, Australia, where we have 8 to 9 therapists working for us at any time. This is our third successful business that we've achieved, and it is all down to our continuing education with books, mentors, courses, and programs and masterminds. Some masterminds that I've paid for cost $25,000 a year, but I will say for anyone just starting out, I highly recommend reading these books. I read books every single month, and it's the cheapest and easiest way to continue that upkeep of knowledge. And I'm going to give you my top 10, starting with 10 to 5. And next week's video is going to be 5 to 1. These are in no particular order, so I would recommend every massage business owner, particularly reading all of them if they have a chance. I'm going to give you number 10 right now. So here we go. Number 10 is called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I don't really know how to pronounce his name properly, but I had heard of this book before. I got it recommended to me by one mentor, and I heard the name of it, and I thought, oh, it sounds a bit cheesy. And then I got it recommended to me by someone else. I finally went on Amazon and had a look at it, and it's got 6,000 reviews on Amazon with the highest rating I have ever seen. And if you look at the reviews, they're insane for this book. So it's basically a crash course in business finances, which none of us are taught when we start in business. Like, unless you've been to university and done business finance and all that kind of stuff, but 99% of small business owners haven't. This is the book I wish I read much earlier than I did. I was a couple years into my business journey before I read this. And it's basically a simple, counterintuitive cash management solution that will help small businesses break out of the doom spiral and achieve instant profitability. So that's the blurb of the summary of it, but it is absolutely essential. I highly recommend you reading it. And he has some other books too, that author I haven't read, but they look amazing based on the reviews. Number 9 is an absolute classic, and it is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's a timeless classic. There are 670,000 reviews of this book on Goodreads.com, and that's for a reason. If you look up a little bit about it, it lays out 7 keys to achieving success in not just business, but life, and bringing balance into your life, productivity, mindset, dealing with people. It's a classic for a reason, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Number 8 is going to be a little bit different. It's not specifically business related, but this helped me a lot. I'm recommending 2 books by this author on this list. I just want to take a second to ask you for a small favor. If you're finding this video helpful, if you could just tap the like button underneath it, I'd be really grateful. That will tell the YouTube algorithm to share this video with more massage therapists around the world. And hopefully that will help them all earn more income, which is what they deserve. Thanks for helping. And the first one I want to recommend is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. This one's like a little bit about spirituality and that kind of side of things, but I guarantee you, if you're in business and you read this book, I guarantee you it will help you. It helped me massively. This is one of the most impactful books I've ever read in my life. It basically, the overarching theme of it is, it describes how our attachment to the ego creates a dysfunction and leads to anger, jealousy, and unhappiness. And I know you might think, oh, that sounds a bit woo-woo and how's it going to relate to business? But for me, it definitely made me less stressed. It definitely helped me in all those areas I just mentioned. One of the big things it helped me with was to develop more empathy, and that helps with dealing with people, whether it's customers, whether it's other team members, and it just makes your life easier because you're aware of more things to do with why another person might act the way they are, act the way they're acting, do what they did. And it's just essential for life and business, in my opinion. Number 7 is called The Power of Now, also by Eckhart Tolle. This was actually the first Eckhart Tolle book I read. I can't remember where I came across it, but maybe a mentor recommended it to me. But if you have a look at how many people have read this book, I think it's one of the most highest selling books in the world in the last 10, 15 years, maybe, since it was published. I don't know when it was published, but this is basically, they say it's a spiritual book, but it's basically borrows from Buddhism, Zen teachings, and other spiritual texts about how to deal with stress and find inner peace and happiness in tough times. This book came to me when I read it when I was very stressed. I was going through, it was my first business I had, which was a gym, and it was very stressful. And I came across this book and I implemented what was in it, and it literally changed my life and my levels of stress and happiness. In that way, it relates to business. But even if you're not stressed in business right now and you maybe have personal stresses, which we all have, I couldn't recommend it enough. And if you go to look at the reviews and you go to look at the celebrities who have read this book and who rate it as their best book they've ever read, it's mind-blowing. So I think this was Oprah's favorite book she's ever read when she did on her book club. I never thought I would be interested in Oprah's favorite book, but this is a life changer in my opinion. Number 6, and the last one on this video, is called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. So if you've heard of Grant Cardone, you'll be aware of this book. This was his first book. He's written probably 6 or 7 or 8 books now. He started off in sales, but now he is a real estate mogul, and I think he's almost a billionaire, or he's a billionaire now. But basically, at its core, the 10X rule, you can apply it to anything, and the book goes into a lot of details and different ways to apply it. But at its core, it talks about setting targets for 10 times greater. So set targets 10x than what you believe you can achieve. This is, I really believe in this, because if you've ever tried to achieve anything in life and business, you know that if you set your target for, say, you want 20 clients a week or 25 clients a week, or you want to earn $2,000 a week or $1,000 a week, how often do you get to that target? It takes a lot more work than you expected. It takes a lot longer than you expected. If you set your target higher, you might not want to set your target 10 times higher, but that's just the principle. So if you want 20 clients a week, you can't set your target for 200 clients a week, but you can relate it back to the principle of set your targets higher than you want to achieve, because most people typically don't achieve their target exactly, but if you fall short, you'll reach the target you wanted to achieve in the first place. Don't just take my summary of it and not read the book, but read the book. One of the other principles he talks about is you should take the actions that are 10 times greater than what you believe are necessary to achieve your goals. I wholeheartedly agree with that, because once again, you might set your goal to achieve something. People rarely achieve the goal that they expect, and that is because they don't do enough to achieve it, because problems happen all the time. Problems come up in business, problems come up in life, the economy, things happen. And if we just do what we think is going to help us achieve our goal, we rarely get there. So if we aim to do 10 times that, and that'll help you think more productively, not just doing 10 times more hours. But in my experience, goals take 5 times longer to achieve, and they require 5 times as much work. So if we set these targets as he lays out in the book, plus a lot more, I think you got a much higher chance of success. And I think it's very applicable to life and business. So there you are. That is my number 10 to number 5 of my top business books for massage therapists. I hope this has opened your eyes to a few different kinds of books that might help you in business, because like I said, they're not specifically business books, a lot of these, but I think to succeed as a business owner, you have to learn about mindset, you have to learn about productivity, you have to learn about dealing with people, you have to learn about business, you have to learn about dealing with stress, you have to learn about business finances, and a lot more. These books, I feel, are essential in helping with that. Check out next week's video for number 5 to number 1. I'll have it up next week. And if you have any other business books that you recommend, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read more books. And if you have read any of these, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. All right, I'll see you in next week's video.